meeting to order. Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Recording in progress.
Good to go now?
Good to go.
Yes. Okay, Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. I hereby call the Economic Development Commission meeting to order. So, good evening, everybody. Hi, Sean. Thanks for taking the time, everybody, to be here.
And if we do a roll call, is that okay?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can do the roll call.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start.
Okay. Angela Achu, present.
Carl Moisen, present.
Laura DiDio, present.
Nicole Ethier, present.
John Macri, present.
Okay, so we have several commission members who won't be with us tonight. Craig Dauphiné, Justin Cook, and we are expecting guest speakers at 7:30. So our November 5th business networking event was, I would say, a success. And now we're at the end of the year, last meeting of the year, and we need to just take a look at the calendar to set the meetings for next year. After all the back and forth that we did over the year and trying to tap dance and, you know, around other committees and commissions' schedules, I think, unless anybody disagrees, that the third Wednesday of the month here or in the municipal center, once they get the kinks worked out of the audio issues, still seems like the best, like the best option.
Yeah.
Monday nights and Thursday nights, we're just going to run into,
Right.
Yeah.
Committees and things.
yeah, committees and conflicts. So, Sean, how do you feel about that?
I'm all right.
Okay, keeping the same schedule, terrific. So, let me just take a look. Nicole had proposed that we put on the agenda, which we have, doing a survey, not just of businesses, existing businesses.
I have to look at that message I sent you.
Yes.
I forget.
I can
it
look
was Shrewsbury.
You said something like Shrewsbury. I can look it up in Messenger when you sent that.
They did like a forum with their whole community. Instead of just the business owners, they invited the entire community to come and talk about economic development within their community. And I think the second part of it was the survey, but I just thought it was interesting that they threw it out to the entire community instead of just business owners. And then made it kind of like an education forum, sort of like we did for the Affordable Housing Trust, where we had speakers come in and we educated the group about what affordable housing actually meant, so we could do it on the flip side of like economic development. What does that mean for Grafton? What does that look like? We could talk about the different areas that we would like to get developed. Just a thought.
And then they did a survey.
And then they did it.
Of the attendees.
Yep.
Oh well.
Yeah,
I think
and
they actually conducted the survey at the forum, and then they were going to send it out after the forum ended as well to collect additional information that they maybe didn't get from somebody that was at the forum or whatever it might be.
Well, one thing we might be able to do, because I'm a big fan of surveys. That's my life's blood in my professional life and etc. We have done a couple of surveys before. As a matter of fact, the town cribbed on the survey that developed, 2 years ago. But as we know, usually even in paid survey, even if you pay somebody to take a survey, which we would not do, but even in paid marketing surveys, you get on average 5 to 10% response rate, which is about what we got. One thing I thought we could do, since the technology is available, and we would have to talk to Evan Broussard, town administrator, is when we have the town meetings and the town elections, we hand people out the clickers
Mhm.
and they can give the response. I don't know if that's something that might be feasible for us to do, if we threw it open for people, because certainly people from the select board and other committees at the very least, as well as business owners in town,
Mhm.
and even even activist or concerned residents would show up. But that would, I think, if we could poll them on the spot, similar to the fashion that we have with the town elections, that would really be great, because we know that no matter what we do, sending out mailings, going online and posting at the various Grafton Facebook pages, and even on the town website, it's a law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So I
I
think,
thought was more interesting about them inviting all community members instead of just business owners, because what if somebody who lives in town knows a developer that's like looking for their next project or
Yeah.
something of that sort. It just feels like a little bit to me that we're like trying to figure out a way to get some of these parcels of land in North Grafton, developed, or get developers interested in it to bring more industry, commercial stuff in, and I don't think we have like a lot of traction, so I
Yeah.
was just trying to like think about how we could get the message out a little bit broader.
I think we're gonna be intrigued with what Brian and Meredith have to say,
Mhm.
because we actually briefly talked about that. They're at a point in Marlboro where, and I don't wanna steal his thunder, that they are almost fully developed. And, they're always looking for partners to refer to, and there's no reason why we couldn't be one of those partners.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because we also talked about the dynamics of like a Marlboro and the populations and the attractions like the hockey rinks, the hotels,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, and then you look at Westboro, and then you look at Shrewsbury, they're got Route 9, they've got the 495. We're at a disadvantage to a point, only because, I think finally UPS stepping up and finally starting to build
Yeah.
is gonna be huge. I think the Goodman is gonna do his property, right? That warehouse over in North Grafton.
In front of Lyman Gordon?
Yeah, no, not that one. That was shut down, right? This one's over by Picorino's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So has he started to build or put a permit in it yet or no?
I don't believe so, but
Okay.
I also just don't know off the top of my head.
Right. Yeah. All right. We should probably have I think we have a checklist of property somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Is it on
I
the
thought we
website?
did at some point.
Yeah.
Because I know we've talked about trying to distribute that somehow
Yeah. Well,
before.
I think with this group from Marlboro and what we hear, we might be able to be a little bit more proactive with that.
That and the Kevin Kuros speaker, he was, I felt like, talking something about
Eye-opening.
getting like
Yes.
getting on like some list
Yeah.
state level wise.
Yeah.
he certainly knows where the sources are and
Yeah.
how to tap into money and, things like this, and,
Because I think something big like that would that's gonna make an impact.
I mean, the next event we have, if it's open to the public, he should be there. We
Yeah.
should have him attend.
Yeah.
yeah.
No doubt about it. was really, really informative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe after we hear the speakers tonight, we'll get even more ideas about what we want the next event to be.
Yep.
Yes, and by the way, Meredith and Brian are both, as Carl said, and as I found when I reached out to them, very, very enthusiastic. One of the things that I wanted them to discuss here tonight is to basically talk about how they function, which is a bit different from us because they have their own building.
Mm-hmm.
They are an entity with 10 to 12 employees. They have the executive board, so they have a very well-defined and well-honed framework of operation.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have funding that we don't have, so therein
Right.
lies the big difference. But I also wanted to pick their brains on how they're, how they're doing what they do. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think if we look back in the past year and a half, we've made great strides.
Well, I
We
think so,
have
yeah.
regular meetings, we've had 2 events now. People know that we're here. We are populating the website. And we are doing outreach. We have done outreach to say, how can we help you? The next step in the new year is to actually get some of the people who want to, the business owners who would like us to put their profiles up on our website, to actually do that, and I'm happy to take the lead on that. One thing that we have seen, and I wanted to find out from Meredith and Brian, how they advertise, because in the past we spent, I think, $8,000 to $10,000 when John Allen was here, which we all voted on, to have this
Mm-hmm.
in there. And it's very difficult to know what type of ROI, return on investment, that we get. Now, one could argue that all you need is one person to come in,
Mm-hmm.
or one business to come in, and then the thing has paid for itself.
Right.
But this is going back to 2024, 2025, and when the salesperson came around again, it wasn't feasible for us because we were no longer a line item on the
Yeah.
budget. So John had some very good ideas. Of course, we were hamstrung, as everyone was, by COVID for a good 2 or 3 years. But certainly, I think we've got a great group here of Graftonites and a lot of expertise and a lot of ideas. Now we just need, we're toddling, and now we just need to really get some momentum.
Refine the direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean, have you got anything to add? You always have, you're a townie, so you always have good ideas.
Couple of quick thoughts on, you talked about a survey to the residents and businesses. I think going forward, having more events similar to one you just had, only not just businesses, residents also. The issue we all know is when people that will attend a gathering or a meeting, if it pertains to something obviously that they care about, I think the time might be better spent, instead of surveying the town, talking about hosting an event, inviting business people and residents, and let's talk about X, Y, Z. If you compose an agenda for the meeting, you'll get obviously the residents that are interested, and from that, I think you may glean more information or feedback about what people in town want, instead of reacting to a developer coming in and saying, this is what I would like to do with this parcel of land.
Well, respectfully, and this is my investigative reporting background coming out. And you need empirical data. That's why you want to do the survey. Now, you've been at the town meetings, and some of those things, if you have 155 articles and you're voting on all of them, and you're clicking, we don't need to do that. We can have a 5 to 6 question survey, and then as we're at this meeting, if you have residents, businesses, even prospective businesses that are considering Grafton, we can, work the room as we did at all of these things, and each of us take some notes to gather the anecdotal data to back it up. But if we are, the select board is going forward, one of the things that they were saying is that they're looking for us to take an initiative, but we just can't do it acting blind. We will need to back it up with some data and say, hey, when you do a survey, Sean, some of the responses are very predictable, but there's always 1 or 2 surprises in the thing, and that's what it's good for, so that we can say, okay, well, we had 100 responses or 75, responses out of this survey, and X percent, 82% said these are the hot button issues for them. This is what they consider impediments to or challenges in business development in Grafton. This is what they'd like to see. So I think it doesn't have to be, to your point, it doesn't have to be an either or. I think we can do both, and we could keep it we could keep the survey manageable. What you do in these surveys is you have multiple choice, and you do 5 or 6 questions so that it's not taking up the whole evening. And what we have seen in every one of each of the 3 events that we've hosted, people don't hold back. They're very, very interested in talking and communicating what they need, and they also enjoyed the networking aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, Natalie Batista, who has Canine Solutions, she was getting business just by being there. Then you have somebody like Chuck Brown of Bread Guy Breads. All he has to do, he doesn't even have to advertise at this point. People are just following the smell of the baking. But it's tougher for some other folks, especially in the outlying areas, or people who have home-based businesses. We do have home-based bakers, but you have other businesses that are in South Grafton that might be, off on a side street. So it's tougher for them. Hello? Meredith? Hi. Brian, come on in.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, it's a pleasure. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Great.
Hey, Brian. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Meredith, Carl
Hi.
Moisen, nice to meet you.
How are you? Meredith Harris.
How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Angela H.
Angela, nice to meet you, Brian.
Hi, Angela Meredith Harris.
Hi, Laura
Welcome.
DiDio.
Nice to meet you.
Laura,
Thank
nice to meet you, Brian.
Yes. Hi, Meredith. Thanks
Hi.
for being so prompt and responding. I'm
Not
Laura
at all.
DiDio.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you.
Yes.
I think
Meredith.
we've met, I feel like we've met.
Hi.
Perhaps.
Maybe, yeah.
Somewhere
You
along
look
the way.
familiar.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
yeah,
Meredith.
yeah.
Thanks for having me.
What do you want?
Hi, I'm Nicole.
Nice to meet you,
Well,
Nicole.
maybe-
Meredith Harris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
could
can,
be.
yeah, you can sit.
Yeah, we can sit down.
You can sit down there, and we had a couple of
Well,
little
nice to meet
handouts
you, Brian Booby.
Great.
to give you, so you can see what we did on our last business meeting. This is just, and it's on our website, but we've been getting better at this as we go along.
You guys want some water?
Sure. I'd love one. Thank you.
Angela, could you pass
Sure.
that to them?
Are we public? Are we on TV right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
For
this
real?
is
Like, this
yeah.
is like, all right.
Yes, so,
It's being recorded.
Oh, okay. all right.
Okay.
It's not live.
Not live, yeah.
no, it's not.
That would be interesting.
Anyway, so,
You don't do that.
just to finish up on that one point that we were doing with Sean, talking about doing a survey at the next event and maybe using the technology. William, who would we talk to about that? Evan, to see if we could get the
The town moderator.
The town
has
moderator.
full control of town meeting.
Okay, so who is the town moderator?
Don Anderson.
Okay, person I haven't met yet. Okay, so what does everybody think of that idea?
We could start the conversation.
Yes, I'm in favor of starting the conversation.
Yeah.
Yep, I see that as a positive step forward. It's another option.
Yeah. Okay, terrific. So, without further ado, if nobody has anything else to say, I would like to, get going with our guest speakers. Is everybody on board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, welcome Meredith Harris. You're the Executive Director of the Marlborough EDC, and Brian Bouvier, who is a proud Grafton resident
Yes.
and business owner in Marlborough. Your company, your family business,
Yep.
Bouvier Pharmacy, has been in business now for 125 years.
Yeah.
So obviously, you folks are doing something right, okay? And we'd love to hear it. As I mentioned on an email today with Meredith, she says, do you want me to bring anything, other than yourself? No, but we're very interested in hearing about how Marlborough EDC operates, which is different from the way many town economic development commissions
Yes,
operate, because you are your own business entity.
that's right.
And you get
Totally
funding, so tell us about this magic.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm Meredith Harris, Executive Director of Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. Been in the role for about 10 years now. Very happy to be there. I'm very lucky to have a community that prioritizes economic development, which is why we are successful at what we do. What really makes us different from other communities is that we are fully funded through city tax dollars. There's no membership, based, it's not a membership organization. We aren't going out to businesses looking for fees. We're not asking for anything. And we are solely funded through the hotel tax.
Excuse me,
Sure.
Meredith, could I just stop you
Sure.
for a second? So you can either move to this chair, or one of these chairs, or turn around so that people
Oh,
can,
sure. You can scooch down this way, is that,
Yep.
is that right?
Slide
people,
down, yeah.
people can
idea.
see,
Good idea.
can actually see you, so that you're
Oh.
not, they're not just looking at the back of your head.
All right, do you want me-
Okay, is that good
better?
for the folks who are in there, Bob?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay.
The camera will move if you keep talking.
When you start, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Okay, so here
Okay,
we
got
are. Okay, terrific, so,
Hi there.
yes.
So we'll bring it back to 2005, 2006 timeframe. So at that time, Fidelity was one of the biggest, largest employers in Marlborough, had about 5,000 employees. They left seemingly overnight, took with them all 5,000 of those employees, went to Nashua, New Hampshire, and the story, I was not there at the time, but the story is the folks that were there, the administration, people much smarter than myself, said, how do we make sure that this never happens again, that a business in our community that's this big and is this many jobs for our residents doesn't leave and we don't know, or we don't at least have any idea of why they're leaving, have a bite at the apple to keep them here, things of that nature. So they created, at the time, it was called Marlborough 2010, and Brian, you might have been around at the time when they did that.
I was working for Fidelity.
You were there. No kidding. So at the time, they came up with this idea of, okay, it was 2006, we're gonna put together this group, it's called Marlborough 2010, and they wanted to get to 2010 to really try to rebuild the economy, come up with some ideas from an economic development standpoint about how we could make sure that there were boots on the ground, and that didn't happen again. Well, 2010 came pretty quickly. During those 4 years, it was membership based, so we were out asking for money, looking for those membership fees, things of that nature. Again, realized pretty quickly that that model wasn't gonna work if it was gonna be sustainable long term. It's hard to help a business and kind of cut through those barriers when you're constantly have your hand out and you're asking them to give back. And it also prevents you from being able to help businesses of all sizes and really just be a resource for folks. So at the time, the local option taxes were kind of new in the Commonwealth. Marlborough opted to approve both the hotel tax and the meals tax around the same time. The hotel tax, we do have the largest number of hotel rooms outside of Greater Boston. We implemented that hotel tax, but there was a caveat through the state legislature that it could only be used for economic development. So instead of the money being collected and going into a general fund or being used for whatever is needed, you know, that day, it is only designated for economic development. Much like the meals tax, which is only designated for upgrades to the parks and fields in the city. So since then, every year we've gone in front of the city council, we have our budget. It's split pretty evenly between operations and special projects. I have a team right now of 4 full-time staff, plus that's including myself. We do a lot of special projects, which include business attraction and retention. We have a pretty robust business attraction program that we run. Then we also have a hospitality program as well, where we're really trying to give back to that hospitality community, which is where we're funded through, and also kind of our economic engine in the city with the hotels that are there. The sports center as well. We've got the New England Sports Center, which draws about 2 to 3 million visitors a year. So we have the hospitality program, and then we also service the planning department for the city. We don't have a planner in Marlborough, so we service that function as well. We get a specific amount of money from the council each year to put towards planning projects. We do it on a project basis. You know, whatever's coming in, we can partner with, whether it's a private group, RKG, MAPC, whatever it may be, whatever we decide at the time. And then we do a lot of stuff in terms of community development, downtown development, things of that nature as well. So it's kind of the background of how we got started, how we function. Would be happy to talk to you guys about any of the different programs that we have. Part of our special projects as well that's been a huge driver for us was the Economic Development Toolbox. So that's a grant programs that we have, a suite of programs that are available for small to mid-sized businesses that are looking to either come into the city or grow within the city. You know, that's been really fruitful for us. We saw, you know, a lot of success with bringing what we call the big fish to the city, filling some of those vacant spaces that were available. But we realized pretty quickly, you know, okay, that's great, you wanna bring in the big fish, but you also gotta make sure that that middle tier of businesses are also doing well and that you're supporting them. That's kind of your bread and butter in the city, so.
So we would love to be able to pick your brain
Please,
and actually
yes.
work with you on how to
Yes.
replicate your success. That said, there are some very salient and differences between Marlborough
Sure.
and Grafton.
Yep.
I mean, starting with the hotels and the sports complex.
Sure.
I mean, you know, we're 8 miles from Polar Park, but that doesn't bring
Right.
business to Grafton. The other thing is that we don't have a Route 9 going through here,
Right.
like Shrewsbury, Westboro, you know, the whole Framingham corridor. So, yes, Grafton is centrally located, but unless you're coming here for a specific reason, you're not necessarily going to, you know, set up a business here, even though we have done outreach and we had a Grafton Open for Business meeting that was very successful. You remember that was like in 2022, it was a luncheon. We got a lot of people here for that. It was held at one of the buildings at Tufts. And I mean, we have, the other thing is, and Carl could speak to this more, Grafton has not been able to fully realize and exploit some of the things we have, like Tufts, what in terms of the business taxes, because they get a, you know,
Well,
their
they're a
education.
nonprofit,
Yeah, they're a
yeah.
nonprofit, but
Yeah.
they're big. We do have a couple of very big established businesses here, Wyman Gordon, Washington Mills. After that, of course, you know, and you've got Stop and Shop and a few things. After that, it falls off and it's mainly, you know, small or mid-sized businesses like a Koopman Lumber. But then you've got a lot of restaurants, you know, liquor stores. And
You've got
so-
a great center.
yes,
You
we have.
really do. When I was coming through, I'm like, wow, this, you know, that's something that
Quaint, yeah.
we,
Like this.
we strive for. I mean, it's
Yep.
beautiful.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is it's very picturesque, but as the town, we're trying to balance the suburban diaspora and sprawl that we're getting with, you know, so our 90% of the tax base comes from residential
Residents.
property taxes, and so people are groaning under the weight. So that's what we are tasked with, is trying to see, can we attract development like over on Route 30 Ideally, there would be 100,000 square foot building, but in order to even break ground for that, you have to have a commitment for 25 to 30%.
Right,
So,
and that's really difficult in today's market, I mean.
exactly.
It is, I mean, we, even as successful as we've been in the bio, tech and life sciences space, we still have empty buildings.
Yeah.
So it's hard, I mean, to convince an owner to build brand new on spec is very difficult right now.
It is.
It is.
And we struggle with certain things in town, like a gas station closes, but it's still there, and then
Yeah.
the pizza place had to close because, or move, because they literally got flooded one day. So we do have some very vibrant, smaller businesses, but we need to expand, and we are actively having events to get people to come out and network. So that's why, and the next step is hearing what folks like the Marlboro EDC has to say, and see how we might be able to leverage some of the things that you've done and turn it into real.
Yeah,
Real
and I would
things.
add to what Meredith was saying, and again, it's so funny because, I joined the board there 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, something
At
like
least
that.
it was 10 years ago. But so I'd go to these meetings, and then I'd sit in on a town meeting, here, and I'd hear people saying, we want to keep it quaint, but we're sick of these taxes, you're like, okay. You can't have it both guys, you can, but you gotta be pro-development if you don't want the tax, because there's no one else to pay, like you said, there's no one else to pay the taxes, someone's gotta pay them.
Exactly.
And maybe this groan that people are feeling is an opportunity to finally get the townspeople serious about attracting development. Because it's funny, you didn't mention one of the things that I think of as the number one, selling point for Grafton is the commuter rail. I mean, Marlboro would kill me. So it's funny because we used to be in our meetings and we're like, we're not Westboro, we're not these guys, we don't have a Route 9. So they had to come up with something else, right? So the New England Sports Center just kind of came upon us and was like, holy cow. I mean, it was a big deal. But the other stuff has kind of been more organic than it looks on the outside. I mean, that obviously spawned people wanting to put hotels in and things like that. So it kind of did build on itself. But I think the biggest thing that I see when I watch Meredith and her team, and it's funny, she says there's four that act like 15. Like you feel like it's like an army, like they're insane. From traveling the country, going to these conferences, and literally sitting out and saying, "Come to Marlboro." We have, this is what we are. This is what we. And one of the biggest selling points they have is they come out and they can really talk, very honestly about their ability to work with the city, and to make it so you're not going to have a headache, when you come here to do any development. We're gonna they'll have headaches, but we'll help you through the headaches. We'll get you the aspirin for the headaches.
Yeah.
We
shoulder
can't
the
stop the
headache
headaches.
for you,
It is local government, but you have an ability to really make them feel at ease that they have someone in their corner as we develop. But the overall theme on the board has just always been, top line revenue. Like we need to find, and we keep pushing, the team is we need to find top line revenue, period. It's that simple. If you don't find the top line revenue, it's going to come from taxes, and no one wants more taxes. And the schools are underfunded, and we're under budget, and we're and all these other things.
And that's what we're looking at the select board meeting. They're going to be talking about these very issues because it's either going to be, where's the revenue coming from, or
cut the budget.
cut the budget, or an override, which is what, Grafton had
Yeah.
one override in 30 years, and now we've had, three in the
Since I've been
past,
here.
in the past 5 years, which is somewhat dismaying.
I mean, I think it really, you have to decide who do you want to be? What do you want to go after? So Marlboro, we kind of adopted pretty early on this life sciences, biotech, that we were going to glove onto that. We became one of the, and I see you guys are as well, but a platinum level bio-ready community. We did that
Yes.
very, very early. And then we really just marketed that every way we could, in any way that we could, and to really put yourself out there. And the commercial brokers are kind of like the secret sauce, where those are the folks that are talking to the companies that are looking to move and that are making decisions and site selection and location decisions. those are the folks that you need to get in front of. We do go out nationally, we're at trade shows, right, so anything you can do, and I recognize most communities don't have the budget to do the
Yes.
travel and the things that we do, or to put out ads in Worcester Business Journal, or to do that stuff.
We did put out ads, we have it
Okay.
right here, in Worcester Business Journal, we did that for a couple of years in a row.
Yep,
But we've
but you
had,
didn't see anything
well,
from it.
no, I have no idea, because what happened, this is sort of a unique situation. Number one, we changed town administrators 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
Then, as that happened, of course, like everybody else, we were hit by COVID.
Sure.
So things calmed down. Then there was a part-time consultant that was employed by the town.
Was that John?
Yes, John Allen,
yeah.
who was really very, very much on
Very
the,
active.
very active, very intelligent man.
Mhm.
He was the one who put together
Mhm.
Grafton is open for business over at Tufts, and that we had, State Senator Moore, we had several other
He came to Marlboro many times.
Yes.
To ask us what we were doing.
Yes,
to
and
learn.
he went around literally pressing the flesh
Mhm.
here in Grafton, visiting the small businesses. I went with him, so that we had a presence, but, with the budget pressures,
Sure.
John's position was eliminated.
Mhm.
So, and I have to say,
It's funny, right? Sorry to interrupt you,
It's
but
the
it's
first one that shouldn't go.
right. It's so funny because I say this to Meredith all the time. It's so funny, coming from just a straight business background. If you think of the town and this part of the town development as a business, and truly it's a business. If your business is struggling and you fire your salespeople, you can't cut your way to success as in a business. But in a town, we always think, oh yeah, you can. We can tighten up the belt. The kids really need that extra teacher and all these other things to get there. But at the end of the day, to Meredith's point, and maybe there's an opportunity, or is there an opportunity to get to what you want to be? What does the town want to be, and to get buy-in for the town to understand, especially facing another override and all these things, to say this is the time that we need to commit dollars to development, so we're not doing this again. Versus the other ways. I can't remember what his name was, but the last time we did an override and the structural deficits. Remember that whole conversation. You can have that accounting conversation, or you can say no. We need to be better salespeople. We need to be out there.
You also need that buy-in from the community, right? Like, again, one of the major reasons we're successful is that when I'm meeting with a company, whether it's here or in California, I know what I can promise them. And I know that I have the mayor, the city council, the building department, they're behind me. So there's nothing that I'm saying, well, expedited permitting, you want a TIF, you want this, we can do all of these things, but I know, I'm not just saying, oh, we might be able to, I know we can do those things. You have to be able to put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
If I could, so let me put it this way. Do you have experience with a town in our circumstance, or do you know of a town in our circumstances? I know that Marlboro's had a tremendous success, but reel back time and go back to where we are here today. What would you advise us to do? We don't have a budget.
Yep.
We don't have a tax coming in and supporting a group. We don't even have a staff member.
Do we have a meals tax in Grafton?
I don't think so. No. So, I guess it's great, and
Yeah.
you're to be applauded for the success. There's no doubt about it. But I guess I'm trying to figure out how we, as a commission, get to the next step with what we have. And we put on presentations. We've had people come in. We had a nice scenario take place at Tufts, but that was all John's doing, and his organizational skills. And now that he's gone,
So
I know
it worked, but it worked. Having him.
Well, it did.
Well-
We've got UPS coming in, and they're building their building finally, which will help the tax base. But we need like 3 or 4 more UPSs.
and we need to,
Because quite honestly, I don't mean to cut you
I
off.
don't know,
We don't have a ton of space left.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Semten Park or whatever it is, You know, that's up there, that could be developed, but there's like 3 or 4 different scenarios, and it's not, we don't want the residential, we want the biotech.
So if it were me,
Yeah.
so you're on a,
I'm asking you.
Yeah. if you're on a shoestring budget, right, and you're all volunteers.
Yeah,
you're
shoestring
doing,
is very, very broad.
We don't even have that
Yeah,
outfit.
Yeah, chewing gum.
I would pick 2 or 3 sites that you're looking to fill.
Yeah.
What are those sites? One of you has to be able to go to Canva or something else, put together some very simple marketing materials, and then somehow, some way, in your free time or whatever time that you're able to find, put it in front of the right people. That's the commercial brokers, the Mass Bios of the world, the Mass Life Science Center, the Mass Econs. Those are the folks that are going out and doing some of that site selection work on behalf of the Commonwealth for communities that don't have an MEDC. So, again, it's gonna take a little bit of work, but it won't take a lot of money. Put together some, even if it's on Word, put together something just like this that you can then print off on a printer and hand to the people that are out doing that type of outreach. Mass Econ's a great resource. Doug Kellum,
Now, where are they in,
I think that's what Kevin
Yeah.
yeah, are
mentioned
they
them
in
too.
Boston or where?
so they're based out of Waltham.
Oh, okay, so they're not,
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors. It's folks from all over the Commonwealth that are trying to market Massachusetts as the place that people wanna be. They talk with site selectors across the country. Doug Kellum, who's a Marlboro resident, was on our board for many years. He's like an award-winning site selector across the country, kind of like our secret weapon in Massachusetts that people don't even know about. And if you give him the information, you're giving him tools to go out to these events and things across the country that he didn't have before. So even if one of you can't go with him to sell it, at least he has the information.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then, again, those trade groups, Mass Life Science Center, MOBD, I see Kevin Kuros's name right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came
He's
and he
phenomenal.
spoke,
Phenomenal.
yes,
Yeah.
and we want to have him back. So, what happened was with all the economic pressures, no surprise, when John Allen's position was eliminated 2 years ago now, or was it in 2024? I'm losing track of
Yeah.
years.
It's only been a year,
It's only a year,
Yeah.
year and a half.
but I think we're on
Okay.
the 25 budget.
24.
Yes, it was in 2024. I then met with Evan Broussard, our town administrator, who said, look, you don't have a line item on the budget, but that's not to say there is nothing there for you. So we've been able to fund these things. So certainly, if we can meet with a Doug Kellum, and William Blake here, he is the assistant town administrator who is sort of now tasked to work with us and help us out on these things. So if we present something to Evan and say, look, you know, it might be have another event like John did, but also, as you said, go to one of the, you know, I'm happy to go to put together a little coalition of who's ever
Might be able
available.
to drum up some sponsors
Honestly, I
of
don't
an
even-
event
I don't
too.
even know if an event is where your money's best spent.
No,
I
we
don't.
haven't really spent much money on events.
Okay.
We've been doing,
I
we
think
had
But
the
putting
rest
together the
of-
marketing
Your point
materials,
is
putting
just
together
get the
professional
right
marketing.
materials
Get in
in
front
front
of
of
people.
Doug.
Think micro.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Yes.
get those things, and even like we talk about this in our meetings all the time, that we're getting to the point where even the bigger companies we've brought into Marlboro on the bio side are looking at us and going, all right, how does this scale to a regional model now? Right? They know that, I mean, again, even Marlboro, like we're you know,
running out of space.
we're out of space, right? Like, and yet we're known now, and when people call Meredith, you know, so once everyone, the Dougs of the world know that, geez, you know what, Grafton has a selling point here for a bio piece. You know, they have the commuter rail, they have Tufts, they have some stuff that kind of makes sense and is sellable if we have the marketing piece. If people have the marketing piece, they know
Yeah.
that Grafton's looking in this space. I mean, and platinum, the platinum thing, and all of that, right? That's
Well,
all.
we can,
part of it.
and I'm certainly, you know, willing to do that and work with, we've got a very talented professional,
Sure.
commission here. You know, we're putting together the marketing,
Yeah, it's very well
Things.
done. Yeah.
it's just a case of, as Carl said, we need to focus and take the next step.
Mhm.
So I guess, meeting with Doug, and if there's a local conference here or something that's going on,
Well, I think having Meredith.
focus
your
here,
money-
but
Meredith,
focus
yes.
your money on
knowing that Grafton's on the,
on the
the-
map.
the
Yes, it's
slight
on the
dot on
lookout,
the map.
yes.
And the idea that,
I
that-
have been to many of your restaurants.
I know, I'm not saying that, all I'm saying is that we're infants,
Yes.
and you're, grown adults, and you're running at 100 miles an hour, we're barely crawling.
Yeah.
And I think, to the point is that we get these flyers together, we get some, hard, we've got, on our site, there's several lots of land and things like that we
Mhm.
can easily market.
Mhm.
The platinum status is probably to our benefit, I think,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the more that if you are running out of space, you can say, hey, Grafton's got a commuter
Absolutely.
rail, that type of thing.
And we look at that as a positive thing. So if
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not gonna
totally.
land in Marlboro, we'd rather them land somewhere in central Mass versus in Cambridge because
know,
Yeah,
that's
'cause I was
gonna
gonna say,
benefit
what
us.
was the last one we won? Who were the finalists? It was like all over the country. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, I can't remember like the places, but it wasn't like they were thinking about
No.
just Marlboro or Cambridge. It was like,
Right now, we're competing for one. It's between 2 sites in Massachusetts and then one in, they're saying southeastern United States. I think it's Florida. So it's like, that's usually how it goes. Like, they're gonna narrow it down to one site in Massachusetts and then one site somewhere else. And Mass can't really compete when it comes to incentives from the rest of the country. We can't. We've got the talent, and then it has to be these other things that you kind of cobble together to make it attractive for companies to want to come here.
Well, I mean, we are centrally located.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a beautiful town. We are close to Worcester,
Mhm.
where there are things going on. Obviously, Boston is a big lure.
live, work, and play.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
mean,
that's
Cambridge-
our
Tagline.
tagline is live, work, and play. And because, like you said, there are selling points. People like the area. The location's fantastic.
You're close enough to Cambridge and Boston, but it's way cheaper to be out here. And in any of these companies, we've seen like the Modernas, they have like a mailing address in Cambridge, but then they put their manufacturing facilities out here because you can get a lot more space for a lot cheaper of an expense.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, this is exactly what we need.
And then what is the path to trying to convince, whoever, is through Ev, does it start with, you and Evan kind of like to propose to get this rollback? Because I mean, it's so self-defeating. I mean, it's getting rid of that role at a time when you need more revenue is, and I don't understand the short-term thinking, everyone goes that way, but is it something that needs to go to the town? How do you start? I'm sure you already have started, but I mean, I'm sure you protested loudly when they heard them. But what is the path there? Because I think that's important
Okay,
to find the funding to do that too.
Just to give you a little background without being too critical here.
This is why we don't record ours.
Okay. Well, the communications, nobody bothered to tell anybody on the board when John was let go. I happened to find out, because as a reporter, I called John up, that's what nosy girl, and said, John, in June of 2024, when is our next meeting? Well, I don't know, I don't have any, he says, I'm gone in a week and a half. I'm like, oh, nobody told us. So I then called up the town administrator's office and made an appointment to see Evan and said, hey, I'm so-and-so, and we have to do better at communicating, and let's see what we can do. And that's when Evan and I had the talk, and he says, well, there isn't, that's when I found out, well, we're not even a line item on the budget anymore. And I understand the reasons for that, especially,
Sure.
there's a lot of people competing for,
A lot of pressure.
yeah.
Well, that, and
dollars.
we really didn't have any, I don't think Shrewsbury or UPS was online yet.
No,
And so we really didn't have any ammunition to justify it.
yes.
Yeah, now you have UPS to say, look what a guy like this could do. He gets one more of those, he pays for his salary in a month.
Yes, exactly. So, well, John was a part-time
Part-time.
consultant.
Yeah.
Even better.
Okay, but he had an office, so now, in a way, I wouldn't say John has been replaced by William, because William has other duties besides us, but William has certainly been supporting us, and we've had had some changes to the commission, you know, people come on, come off. So, as I said, we're at least, we're able to lift our heads, and we're at least at the toddler stage where we can crawl, you know, across the room. So that's what we're trying to do to get set up for 2026, and really, let's try and make this happen and see what we can do. So we did have, we're having people like yourselves come in and speak and
you get,
talk.
the tax impact too, like sometimes
Yeah.
those numbers for people to see that is so impactful. Like our administrative part of our budget, right, is covered by one of the projects that we bring in for several years. Like, so to be able to show like the ROI, you know, you put this money into this group that's gonna do this, and you bring in one company, and they're gonna pay it annually, you know, so one development brings in $1 million a year in revenue, that pays for all of our salaries plus.
Was John involved in the UPS
No,
deal?
No, John was trying to do
it was 7 years ago,
Yeah, that's right, it was a long time ago.
long
Yeah.
time ago.
Took a long.
the
it took a
bio,
long
and
time.
he was trying to do the push for the bio and
Yeah.
life sciences, and hoping to see over by the employment thing and over by the commuter rail and the old
He
state
was on the
hospital.
right track.
Yeah, he totally was.
He
He
totally
totally
was.
was,
Yeah.
and he did a very professional and thorough job. So now we've gotta get, you know,
Yeah.
now we've gotta get momentum again,
And
so.
then when you have with UPS coming online, to Meredith's point, you have a really good opportunity to put together something for
Like a case study.
a case for the internal people to say, hey, just so everyone can now that and you can even say, now that we've seen it, now that it's coming online, and we know the numbers and it's going to be real, just to give you a sense, here's the revenue to the town from this one project,
And here's what it was
and
before.
here's what it was before, and you know when we had John's role, he was working on this and this. If one of those had hit, it would have funded his role for 5 years,
Right.
literally, and he was probably chasing 7, and if he had been allowed to stay and get 1, it would have paid. It's self-funded. It's like I said, the concept that to not have a salesperson when you need revenue
Right.
is just it's. I think it would resonate now that you can show the revenue,
Actual numbers.
the actual
Now-
numbers of the town, or even for this town, even better. Hey, one of these projects saves having to cut 2 elementary school teachers that you're gonna have to cut next year. My daughter comes. She's the student rep on the school committee. And so she comes home, she's like, her head's exploding. She's 17. And she's like, what are we doing? She's like, I'm not allowed to talk, but I want to scream. I'm like, I hear you. She's like, this is
Take it
insane.
in.
She's like, the choices where they're forcing people to make just make no sense. But again, some of that case study, show some of that. Like this could
Well,
be, and
so
maybe
to your
people
point
understand that.
is, can we use, and I don't want to violate any confidentiality, but are there any numbers of yours that we can use
Of
to,
course.
as a case study? Because
Yeah.
that would be very, very helpful.
Oh, yeah.
I can, I'm
It's
certainly,
not helpful, it's compelling.
yes,
Right.
well, yeah,
Right. I mean, are any of
Really
you
is.
familiar with
I
the
didn't mean
Apex
to,
Center?
yeah, that's
No,
right.
Yeah.
no,
The Apex Center in
Yep.
Marlboro?
Yeah.
So before, that is now, before it was bringing in like little to no tax, it was empty, it was raw land, bringing in, couple $1,000s a year of
Yeah.
revenue. It's now $1 million a year, every year.
Wow.
So to be able to show those figures, it is impactful. But that, we have a ton of those case studies that we can
so
share
I
with
would,
you.
you know,
Even the tips, like that's another program that I don't think people understand either. And we have a ton of literature that I could share with you on those as well. Towns are afraid to utilize those because they feel like you're giving away.
oh no, we're not afraid to
You're not, that's
utilize it,
great.
no,
That's great.
we would like to
I
really.
would debate that with you.
Oh, well, no, but I mean.
As the chairman of the TIF
I
committee.
know, okay, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
There are things that
No, I
we want
mean-
to leverage and exploit.
There's an aspect of
and jump
educating
on.
the townspeople too. It
No
does get
doubt
to that
about
level
it.
at some
No
point.
doubt about it.
And I thought UPS
Savings.
did a very good job.
Did they get a tip?
Oh, yeah.
did.
Oh, yeah.
They did, okay.
Yeah,
But
a nice one.
they get a savings on the increased value. If they never came, you know what I mean? It's an incremental thing. So if they never came, you're gonna collect that tax the whole time. And then when they come, they bring it all the way up to here, and then you're gonna collect that at the end of the day. So it's all about, in my opinion, educating people on the benefits of these
Yes,
things
and we want to go from being reactive.
Yep.
To
proactive.
proactive. And actually coming up, and this is one of the first steps. If we can build these case studies, find out what's
Sure.
there, and then get Doug Kellum, meet with him, have him
Mhm.
come in.
Even mean, Kevin Kuros is a huge resource
He is,
too.
and we want to have him
Mhm.
back. He was phenomenal.
So Doug, so MassEcon is one of those membership-based organizations. They will still talk to you. They'll take your information.
Mhm.
But like Kevin Kuros, his job is to be an advocate for business to come to your community.
Mhm.
They're not membership-based. They work for the state. He's a
Mhm.
regional director. That's what he's there for.
Mhm.
So what would it cost us to get a membership in Mass Econ?
Let me check for you. I mean, it's not huge dollars.
$10
but
bucks?
I don't know.
We'll take out a loan from Oldfield.
Yeah, we could probably get that done for you.
But I think that John became a member of MassEcon back then. Like he
Oh.
was doing all the right things.
Yes, he was. Now, what I should say is, in backing up, when John was here and the board,
Who fired him?
No, it wasn't that, it was total budgetary. And
Yeah.
it was,
just frustrating, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it was.
no,
Yeah.
well, what
To get
happened was the
momentum.
board, the commission we had changed members. So there was some upheaval there, and of course, the COVID situation didn't help.
Sure.
Now, so when some of us came on the board new, like Sean, who's lifelong, he's a Grafton townie. He came on, I came on. At one point, we're sitting around the table and John said to us, "Oh, you have to, you have to vote." And he says, "I can't vote." And I said, "Well, why not?" Now, this is gonna sound, and I own up to, sounding like ventriloquist dummy here. He says, "Well, I'm not a member of the board." And I said, "Well, then who are you? Could you explain your role?" Because we just took it for granted because
Yeah.
John was sending out the meeting invites. So
Sure.
it's like, okay, could you explain? Well, no, I'm a consultant and I do this. And at the time, I think, Carl, you were the,
Yeah, I relied on
Chairperson.
him all the time, cause he was
Yeah.
great.
yes, but what I'm saying is, did you fully understand John's role at the time?
I did,
Because
yeah,
I
sure.
did not.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So I don't know.
So
no.
that's worth saying too, like, it's not just, cause in Meredith, like you said, Carl, it's the right way to look at it, like, how can we focus our limited resource on one thing?
Right.
And getting the site thing and getting that one thing. But that very quickly will be followed up by the need for this role, because the first thing they're gonna want if they start coming towards you is someone who can help usher through this process, right?
Yeah.
So that's the very next thing that they're gonna need someone to hold their hand through the process and make sure that it's smooth for them and all, you don't wanna be the golden retriever that catches the car. There's gotta be someone there, and if that role's not there,
Well, we're the golden
You know.
retriever that's off chasing the rooster in the park.
chasing tennis balls down the.
No, we're chasing our tails.
So, again, we've been getting back on track. Before you folks showed up here tonight, we were doing a lot of I was leading the cheer, saying, "Hey, look, we've done a lot this year.
Sure.
We've had the business meetings, we've got the framework going, we're populating the web page, we're doing outreach, having guest speakers come
We're
in,
doing more than a lot of communities.
but we need this to actually show
Rubber to the road, yeah.
rubber to the road. We need to show, okay, this is tangible. Let's see if we can bring some business in, because, and let me tell you, Grafton is such a great community.
Yeah.
When something happens, there was a fire at Truth Organic Spa, and Lori, the woman who runs it, she said, wow, she needed help. People started a GoFundMe for her so that she could pay her staff, and then, for the next 6 weeks, she
Amazing.
found temporary quarters. Grafton people will come out and help
For sure.
Yeah.
each other. But it's hard even to get people at the town to vote at the
Yeah.
town meetings. Typically, people will come out and vote if there's going to be a hot button issue.
Sure.
Well,
Yep.
the school thing, that's a hot button issue. 39% of the residents here have kids in school.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just thought of one other thing. I don't want to lose it. I'm getting old. I don't think I lose my thoughts real quickly. The other thing because I don't want to forget to kind of tout what Meredith's team does also, that they're very good at. So yes, finding the sites that you like right away. You look at the town and you guys know the sites here better than anybody because you've been looking at them. So okay, these ones are vacant. These ones are. These are the ones I think we can focus on. The other side of that is getting creative around sites you wouldn't have thought of. That you might start, because it is a small town, and you might know an owner who's getting towards the end of and getting ahead of that and saying, like, pick the sites that, geez, if, I hear everybody say this all the time, if we could do something with that place, fully owned, fully, occupied space, and have nothing, but wow, that would be a great
Really
spot.
cool.
We could do, that'd be really cool, we could do something with that. And they start talking to the people. And literally, yeah, my dad's getting ready to retire, and this is, and now if she's planted the seed,
Right.
and now they come to her and say, hey,
I'm ready.
who do you know I'm ready, versus them going out and putting in something that you really don't want
Yeah.
in that space. So getting ahead of those conversations and letting them know that you're here to do that, or you're here as the representative of the town to do that, to say, we don't want a Dollar Tree showing up, sorry, too soon.
I know.
But
I think-
even,
I think
and by the way, that
I
just
think
shows you
we'd
that
be
even with
really
the
happy with the Dollar Tree.
I mean, right
Send
now,
them our way.
we're still at the stage where people are saying, what can we do with that eyesore where Pepperoni Express and
Yeah.
before that Burger King was, because there's a swamp behind
the
it.
Wyman Gordon fiasco,
Well, and,
Right.
and
Right.
because that's another aspect
we
to
have
talk
our
about, too.
eyesores too, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
For all the success that we've seen,
Yeah.
there are still tons of pain points, right? Like, so that's often something communities don't think of either. Like, we're all in similar boats. We've got a council
Yeah.
right now that I'm battling with 24/7 about, like, we almost have the opposite problem where there's too many projects coming to Marlboro that the council's now.
Oh, send them to us,
I know.
send them to us, yes.
Where they're struggling with which ones do we choose, and so it's, it just depends.
And
Well-
they throw their
From the
hands up, and they'll
market
even though they're, again, city government, they'll still put their hands up and be like,
Yeah.
you know what, forget it. We don't, we're anti-development now, and
Right.
we're all like, okay.
Well,
hang
we
on.
do have.
But we
do-
try to get in front of, like, and the other thing her team does, and again, this is a little further down the road, but is they're constantly monitoring the Facebook pages and
It's awful.
keeping it,
Yes.
and so when, leading up to town meetings and making sure people aren't putting bad information out and saying,
Right.
like I think of the Wyman Gordon thing, that went sideways. That went off the rails probably because of a handful of people. That would have been an amazing project. It really
Except-
probably would have been
okay.
like from where it is now, but a small group of people, because there's nothing else you're going to do with that eyesore that the place is crazy. But if you could have gotten ahead of and maybe seen other people in the town see the benefit of the case studies and the and you guys
That-
could
Or
have
just the
thought
tax
that was
revenue alone.
yeah,
Okay, but
yes,
that-
just to show some of the tide.
Positive.
There's some
Okay.
positives to it.
So one of the issues I personally had with that, and I am all for development, okay, was that there was no transparency. We had the lawyers for these people who were developers who were proposing something come to us, and John was still there.
Yep.
And the lawyers are gonna do what lawyers do.
Sure.
No offense, no offense, Angela, and they said they wouldn't tell us what was going to go in there.
Then I wouldn't even talk to them.
But they had already.
You had that luxury.
Yeah.
Yes, they had already
Yeah.
had a letter drawn up very conveniently and said, hey, we wanted to save you some stuff, so could you please sign, we wrote the letter for you to endorse us and send it so that we can present this to the select board. Now, we only have input to the select board, we don't make the final decision. So I said, as a writer, reporter, I said, well, that's very sweet of you, that's very nice and considerate, but we'll take it under advisement, we'll review it. I knew it was gonna go through, but all you can do at the front end and we didn't have all of the information,
Sure.
and it raises my suspicions, and one of the people who was involved in there, one of the developers, had
Sure.
sort of checkered
Yeah.
stuff.
I think you're right, Laura, and I think, that went sideways for multiple of reasons.
Yes, and it went sideways because the residents who lived nearby said, wait, we're gonna have 7x24 trucks coming in, and who's gonna take care of the road, because that becomes
So this site is like 400 feet over the town line into Grafton. So those trucks would be going, like, literally the pipe to where this site is, it's literally right over the line. So it's one of those things you look at, you're like, ooh, that's kind of a perfect place to,
Yeah.
because there's no other impact except for those few
Yes,
lots, but it's
but
like, oof.
you know what would happen with the trucks. They weren't just gonna come off the pike if that got backed up, which it invariably will do.
Yeah.
They were going to go through the side streets, and those side streets there
Yeah.
are hilly and winding.
But to Meredith's point, you wanted to get,
Yes.
you gotta get in front of all of that and know that.
But we
in
can't
advance
get
at a
in
time.
front of anything,
Yeah.
we can't even get out of the way if people are not being transparent.
Sure.
And then we did have an issue, which is not, it's been rectified, where our building inspector, nobody even wanted to say that, was
He's
actively,
gone, right?
yeah,
Yeah, he's in a neighboring town of Marlboro.
yes,
Is he really Marlboro?
No, a neighboring.
Oh, a
town.
neighboring town.
yes,
Oh.
neighboring,
I'm sorry, I'm like, he is not there.
Was-
This guy's a nightmare.
was actively throwing up big roadblocks
Okay.
to things. And that's been rectified.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go and we're raring to go,
Sure.
so,
So William, when are we gonna sit down with you and Evan to kind of
Yes.
see if you can be a little bit more of an advocate, point person, tip of the spear type of individual for us?
When are we gonna sit down and do that?
Yeah.
When do you wanna do it?
Okay, good. That's why I need more information. Because I actually think that's a role that you can fill. I mean, go to meet with
Yeah.
Doug, because you have the title.
I was gonna say, and this could be the first of many conversations.
Oh,
yes,
no,
well,
no,
yeah, oh
exactly.
no, we're not letting,
I want,
we're not
I
letting you
want
out
all
of
your
our sight.
list, I want all your realtors,
Yes,
I want all of
exactly.
that.
No,
Happy to help.
and I'm willing
Happy to
to, I have my own business in
Mhm.
town, I'm in high tech.
Yep.
I do consulting, writing, et cetera. So I'm willing, my schedule is a little bit more flexible than, possibly somebody like Angela, but I'm willing to
Yeah.
spend the time, meet, start doing it, but yeah, we have to get other people here behind it, because in the past, it's been, the select board says, well, we're looking to the Economic Development Commission to take the initiative. Well, wait a second, we're ministers, we're.
They call that an unfunded mandate.
Yes, ministers without portfolio
Yeah.
or without wallets,
And
so.
I'm telling you
A lot of congregation.
the only reason we have been as successful as we have been is because of the buy-in from the community and the steady stream of funding.
Mhm.
Because you start some of these programs, and if you can't continue to do it, forget it.
Yeah,
You know,
we've
you
had a lot of
advertise
starts and
for
stops.
2 years.
Yes, and you build it, we talk about this in our meetings all the time, it's also something that requires constant attention, because you can build the best reputation in the world, and if you have one good developer have a bad experience,
They'll tell everybody.
they'll tell everybody. I remember I was talking to Carl about this the other day. I remember being, again, with my background in EDC, I remember sitting at the meeting with UPS when UPS came to town meeting. And I don't know if anyone else was in that meeting, but UPS sits down and I told Meredith the story, they asked for a vote and the machines broke. Right at the time, the machines weren't working for that meeting and they had to put the machines down, so they did a hand vote. And the UPS guy was up front. And they said, all right, can we see a show of hand, whatever, and it was Ray Mead, whatever, quickly, yeah, because it was overwhelmingly in support. Yes, it was. UPS guy quietly gets, I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's not gonna let that go. Quietly gets up, goes up to the moderator, and he's like, could we do that again? And I'd like everyone to hold their, he wanted to see if it was unanimous, because he knew, like, town, it can go sideways over one person.
Yeah.
He wanted to see if anybody was against it, and he
Yeah.
went and turned around and waited. Anyone against? And he waited, then he sat down.
Oh.
he wasn't going to go for the voice
Wanted to be
vote.
sure.
He wanted to be sure he had absolutely everything, because that matters to those guys. That's money. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Well, and if they can choose to, we say this all the time, if they can go to Marlboro or Westboro, and Westboro's giving them a hard time, or Marlboro's giving them a hard, they're gonna go to the other one. They wanna go where people wanna work
Where
with
it's
them.
easy.
Yeah,
Right.
where it's easy,
Yeah.
the path of least resistance, yeah.
Right.
And I mean, in some ways, Marlboro, just from a geographic
Mhm.
standpoint, is further off the beaten path
Yeah.
than Grafton is.
For sure.
But you had the infrastructure there, you had Digital Equipment Corp, and
Yep. We
let's
also
face
have water
it.
and sewer, which is a huge deal to these companies.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have septic or sewer, but infrastructure's a big
Okay.
deal too.
Sewer.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other,
Okay. We don't have to open
Conundrum,
that.
but-
Might be another challenge.
I
Yeah.
wanna be mindful of everybody's time, cause it's 8:21. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, I guess to your point, Meredith, this is the beginning of
Yeah,
a
open dialogue.
open
Yes, for
dialogue
sure.
in cooperation and,
Happy to help.
That's what, I think that's the biggest takeaway that we can have all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we have some good things to start us off and
Yeah.
talk about and chew
And
on
happy to make
for-
any introductions to, any of
Yes,
these groups or
definitely.
any.
So
Yeah.
when can you come back again? Can you come back again in January? No, actually, seriously,
Do you work pro bono?
no, what would be very helpful, our next meeting is gonna be, we have meetings on the third
Mhm.
Wednesday of the month,
Okay,
but we can do it by Zoom, so,
Okay.
especially when we're coming into January or something. So would it be possible, for you to, speak to us again at the
Absolutely.
January meeting? And, I don't wanna violate any rules here, but if,
We have a Grafton resident here
Yes,
that can do
Grafton.
that as well.
Yeah.
so-
yes.
Yeah,
But
this
what
is
would be
Gerald.
really helpful is to get some of your business collateral and IP on the
Absolutely.
ROI
Yep.
and what you've done. I mean, I've been on your website,
Mhm.
obviously, and I was very impressed with, okay, first we saw you had a budget, and you're
Yeah.
actually a functioning business entity,
It's
which
a
is,
hefty budget,
It's a
yeah,
hefty- yeah.
it is.
I mean, but again, it self-perpetuates,
Mhm.
and that's what I would encourage, as you guys sell this to the town, encourage some form of a structure that does that.
Right.
That self-funds, that says, hey, when we do these projects, that some percentage of this will, because of the development, will come back to economic development, because it's the only way it's gonna sustain itself.
Mhm, mhm.
It can't, the minute if tomorrow Meredith stopped returning phone calls quickly or anything like that, right, it just stopped, it wouldn't take long for it to die.
Correct.
Cause it requires constant attention.
Right.
And again though, and I think everyone in Grafton is so focused right now on the tight budget, on the taxes, and the timing of UPS coming on and showing that revenue, it's just a perfect time to strike right now to show the town the case study. To show
So-
them
Yeah.
what this looks like from all the decisions that they're about to have to make that are not good decisions, not fun decisions to have to make right now.
Right.
I mean, it's not gonna be fun for you guys, right? I mean, you're not looking forward to this next few, there's gonna be votes, there's gonna be bad things that are gonna
and
be.
basically
not
what the
fun to
select
deal with.
board is doing,
It's not
they are
fun, right?
going to have one meeting a month, as they.
A week.
A week, yeah, excuse me.
Through
I
January.
And
misspoke.
do you have anyone, do you have, like, on this board, because we also have, on our board, we have the president of the mayor and the president of the city council are on the board. Is there someone,
Yeah, select
We
board
have a select
members.
board
We have select board members
Okay,
who are
who come to the-
representatives who,
okay.
Yeah.
um,
Not- just not
they're
tonight.
not, they're
No,
not
okay.
here
Right.
tonight, so, yes, but, I think, the most appropriate next step, and I'd like to do it, soon, is if you can get us some of those
Sure.
case studies and some of those things, and, copy William on it as well,
Sure.
and then we can set up a time, perhaps we can have Evan
Yeah.
at the next meeting here, and if you
I
could
don't
be.
know if I can commit to January.
Yeah,
No,
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
No, I
No.
don't think that's necessary right now.
Yeah.
No.
We can only,
We want your
Beg for your
IP, we
time,
want
right,
your
exactly.
intellectual
Yeah.
property.
right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't expect, but, by the way, you wouldn't necessarily have to come all the way back here.
Yep.
We have the Zoom
I
option,
gotcha.
but,
I got a 3 and a 6-year-old that my
Yeah.
Yes.
nighttime time is
yes,
very
no, I
limited.
hear what you're saying, but no, this has been really helpful.
thank you.
Happy
And
to,
Brian,
yeah.
you're here, so we can just grab you and
He's
hold
good.
you
Yeah.
hostage, yes.
Well, I told Carl, I said on the way in, and my wife reminded me on the way out the door again, she's like, no more boards! I have a strict, for marital success, I have a one in, one out policy right now for boards. I'm at my limit right now, I can
No.
only add another one if I drop one in.
No, but you have enough,
No, I'm happy to help.
Information that we
Obviously, I have a
can-
vested interest in helping
yes,
where I can.
Yes.
And I'll be very familiar with a lot of what she sends anyway, what Meredith sends
Right.
anyway, so happy to provide color, or if you just need to, kind of, when, this people from the select board or Evan is here, and you want kind of someone else to kind of, in person to talk, I'm happy to do that.
yeah,
So-
and
So
that
if
would.
you're doing that on the sooner side of things, and you wanted to include me, I don't mind doing that.
Well, yeah, but January's gonna be pivotal for
Okay.
us, since we've
Yeah, like I
seen
said,
that the select board is gonna be doing this, so we need to make a case.
Sure.
Craig Dauphiné, who is, the select board representative to the EDC.
Yep.
One of the first things Craig said when was that election last year? But anyway, Craig replaced Ray Mead on the board, and Craig says, well, we need to get back on the budget as a line item.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that hasn't happened so far, but as Carl said, hey, look, this is a very cogent, compelling argument to make with,
Sure.
all we
facts,
need is one.
Yeah.
To show that definitive ROI,
Right.
and then, we can put,
I mean, as soon as UPS gets online, I mean, we're talking, I don't know
We'll see
the
the
number.
money.
Do we
Yeah.
happen to know the number? It's gotta
Oh,
be
top line.
over $100,000 of tax revenue,
yes.
at least. Close to $500,000 probably.
How big of a,
It's huge.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
So to get $2,000 a month out of that would be nothing.
Yeah,
And $2,000 a month pays for our part-time John.
right.
So, I think
Which
that
sells itself.
At this
Exactly.
point, I'll be part-time, John.
whatever,
I know,
whoever
I know,
it is,
I'm
I
kidding,
don't, that role would be self-funding.
Yes,
And
exactly.
It's a sliver
Where did
of
John
what,
end up going?
he had his own consulting business, he was more of a business broker.
Yeah.
He was having success with that as well.
Got it.
So,
He's a good guy.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He was very bright, and he was very proactive, and,
He was a commercial lender by trade, worked for a lot of banks.
Yeah.
And so he knew a lot of people, and he
He
was
was a
always
good guy.
proactive, and he knew where to go.
Mhm.
And, who knows, maybe we can get him back.
yeah, I mean, certainly. But meanwhile,
Yeah.
those case studies would be good,
Absolutely.
and so
Yeah.
we can put that together, so, if you can send that to William
Yeah,
and
I'll give you the
myself,
cards, yeah.
that would be terrific, so we can start working on this and then set something up with Evan for our next,
I don't think I've ever met it. I think I've ever met it.
you just
Trying to think if I
flip
have.
it down here. No, I know. But thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
out.
thank
Yeah, thank
very
you.
much.
No, I
Appreciate
mean,
it
yeah,
very,
we
very
definitely would love to,
Happy to help.
Stay in touch,
Thank you,
right?
thank you.
yeah, well,
Thank you
no,
very much.
yeah, you're not gonna get rid of us.
I gotta protect her a little bit.
No, but,
She-
no, I mean, this is.
You're a
this-
resource.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, this has been so helpful, because as I said,
Totally.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know where to start, right? And
Right.
I do this every day. This is my world I live in, so.
well, no, and,
Yeah.
we need somebody in that,
So you like that ad, huh?
I do, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Simple, to the point, and all you need to do is tell, this is what we have available. So the greatest example we have of that, like, we wanted a brewery downtown. So we literally put an advertisement in Beer Advocate magazine, which went across the country. We want a brewery in downtown Marlboro. Like, this is what we can offer you. Here's the money we're, expedite
Mhm.
this, that, and we ended up with 3 of them. So, you gotta, if you don't put it out there, what you're looking for, how does anyone ever know?
well, yeah, and we
Yeah.
did put that in, at your leisure, you can take a look at the
Yeah.
materials, business-friendly environment, we have the TIF fund, we are
Mhm.
platinum-rated community for
That's great.
bio and life.
You hit all the
John was really big on the bio
Yeah.
and life sciences. We do want clean energy and businesses in here,
Mhm.
because unfortunately, I'm sure you heard about the Feedback Earth fiasco.
I heard about that.
That was
Smelly.
Oh, yes, I did, yeah. I know the name of it, actually. I never even looked.
But the life sciences right now are a little tough, so that
We-
might
we
not
don't
be
want
where
one
you wanna put
natural
your.
gas storage.
No,
Energy,
but-
Yeah.
No, but there
At
are,
the time though, it was, this was a very hot market 3, 4, 5 years ago. Right now,
yeah,
it's a
now
little
we've
tough.
got generative AI
Mhm.
coming in,
Climate
and,
tech and all these different things.
yeah, all of those things. But again, we can identify those once we can, once we show, hey, here's the business case, here's the
And that's where the
return on
focus
investment.
matters, right? It'll become a lot clearer, your marketing message becomes a lot clearer like this.
Right.
When you pick your sites and you're like, okay,
This
we're
is
gonna
what we got.
focus on marketing these 2 or 3 sites.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I know we have 1,000 other things we wanna do, but we're just gonna focus our resources on marketing these sites.
Yeah, and then,
And that way that's less people you have to talk, it's just like,
Mhm.
you're focused, you're
This is what
locked
you're
in.
doing.
Yeah, you're locked in.
and we can work a little bit backwards,
Cause you only need one, you're only gonna get
yes,
one to show the.
the
show the
ROI will lower our TCO
Right.
and the operating, rather than
Mhm.
lowering the TCO and then showing the ROI. I mean, this would have immediate impact.
Do we have is it Grafton have a commercial and a residential rate, or is it?
Split.
No,
One rate.
One rate.
no.
One rate.
I should know.
Mm.
And I don't know of any commercial realtors that reside in Grafton.
That's okay. You get, like, some of the bigger brokerage firms
Sure.
have, like, Central Mass teams.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know a couple of them, and
Yeah.
we had
The
Todd
guy from-
Alexander in
Oh,
a
yeah,
while
yeah.
back.
Westboro.
Newmark, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he in Westboro?
Yeah, he's in
yeah,
Westboro,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and he's on their EDC.
Mhm.
I think we had another group, Stubblebine Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We should get on their list.
Even like Kelleher and Sadowski,
Yeah,
they're Worcester
exactly.
based,
Yeah.
like things
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
You know,
But we wanna be in, well, like you said, life sciences might be a little tough right now, but there's
still
offshoots
wanna
of
be
that.
out there,
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
offshoots of that too, so.
right.
Well, we have to focus on, the next big thing. I
Right,
mean,
look, whatever we
might have
can
been
get.
life sciences or, bio, but now, it could be something, something else, so.
Or are there any collabs that Tufts would wanna do? Like collabs with public-private with that they would, is there some, that's a huge,
Well-
deep pockets. I mean, they've got stuff there. Do they want, is there stuff that they're chasing that they would be like,
Well-
wow, it would be great if we had this, type
And
of
we
thing.
had a scenario, I think it was the swine labs, right?
Mm.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Yeah, that came through and that was working on, and that wasn't gonna throw anything off to Grafton because they were on Tufts property.
Oh, yeah, I
Now-
remember that, yeah.
So-
One thing to me that's very intriguing about Grafton, and that we've never really fully leveraged or monetized, is this has been a very, very historically equine community.
Mm-hmm.
It still is. But if you look, Framingham managed to put in a big dressage center, and you can host events there, and
Yeah.
they're making bank on that. We have we have 250 to 300 horses in this town.
Yeah.
We have people who are keeping their horses in the backyard, but we, literally, but we also have several big facilities and great access to trails.
Well, lean on that.
Yes,
Yes.
that's one thing that, and we have our own tax shop in town and, animal
Maybe
things.
it's tourism that you're, you know what I mean, like whatever your driver is.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
For us,
yeah.
it was sports tourism, and that's
Those
where we
hockey
get,
rinks, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, like you're saying, you
Start
have
with the name,
the
right?
sports center.
Yeah, look, what are your strengths? What do you have that differentiates
Where I
you
learned
from
to
other
skate.
communities?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so, well, thank you so
No
much for
problem.
being
Thanks,
here.
guys.
And we'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah.
And now that I have your email,
Yeah.
which is good. Thank you so
Carl
much.
always had it.
Pleasure to meet both
We'll
of
see
you.
you. Very nice to meet
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for your time, really.
Pleasure to
Right.
meet you.
Too.
Hope you don't have a long ride home.
Not too bad, just back to Marlboro, big
Okay,
city.
Good,
Okay.
it's a big city.
I like your skirt, by the way.
Thank you,
Oh,
thank you so much. Have a
Happy
good night.
holidays,
Take care, guys.
everybody, thank you.
Move to adjourn?
I have one thing.
Sure.
Just wanted to let everybody know we got an email from the Executive Office of Economic Development today that a Grafton business, Epic Polymer Solutions, received a $75,000 state tax credit award.
Wow.
That is for expansion and to protect 5 new jobs.
Wow.
So they're going to send us a press release to
That's
put
awesome.
out.
That's
about
very
that.
good.
I just wanted to
That's
let
great.
the EDC know.
Should've started
Yeah,
off
that'd
with
be
that
great.
way.
Well,
That's all right, no,
we
that's
had
good.
other things going on.
Good time.
Yeah,
Yes.
great,
Awesome, thank you.
terrific.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
so our next meeting is gonna be on January 21st.
Yes,
Because that's actually the 31st, New Year's Eve is
right,
on a Wednesday, but I looked and I said,
yes. So
Okay.
January 21st was perfect, and I think we have our annual filing due
yes,
in January. So I was just gonna mention that
yes, we
tonight.
have that, and then,
It's
William
basically
sent
our
me the
list of
thing.
accomplishments for the
Okay.
calendar
Yes.
year. And we worked on that, we worked that through, and thank you, Laura took the lead on that last year. And so we look to basically have that ready to go in January. Not that it has to be ready for our meeting, but we, strive to have it done by the end of the month.
yes, and we also have, to put the thing, where we stand on, what is the,
The open space and recreation plan.
open space and recreation, and that's sort of a rubber stamp, because we just, remember what is that
Oh.
thing, and people said, well, just,
Is it coming back to us, a question?
They have to do a yearly report,
Oh,
and
okay.
so what we have to fill in is just one cell about
Yes.
the progress we've made towards the goal of supporting economic development.
Mhm.
And so
Okay.
yeah, so it's pretty
Not too
status,
hard.
it's pretty status quo,
yeah,
what we're
very
doing.
light lift.
Yeah, so we'll get that has to be in by January
31st.
31st, so we can talk about that
At our next meeting.
at the next meeting,
So
yes.
at January 21st meeting, we can go over our 2025 accomplishments,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah,
what
I'll
we would
put
be
I'll put
reporting.
together a list of the 2025 accomplishments, and then also, at the next meeting, we can talk about some of the, the initiatives and goals,
Mhm.
and we'll wanna fill in Craig and Justin, et cetera. But I think this is a big thing, and,
Mhm.
if we can get the collateral, the IP from Meredith, that would be great. So if she sends it to you and sends it to me, I can then put it together for the,
I'd really like to review the potential spots that we wanna kind of focus on, to Brian's point.
Yes.
Okay.
If we can get a list of those, and
And
they're
I
on the
think we
website.
should talk about this Grafton's strengths.
yes.
Like, for those spots, what do we want to
Yeah, I mean,
focus our efforts
like,
towards
put
finding?
3 flyers together, get them in Meredith's hands so that we can get, or somebody can go out and meet with Doug, whatever his name is.
Kellum.
Kellum, yeah,
Kellum,
yeah.
And then maybe we can just, this is what we're trying to do, these are the 3 spots that we think are viable, this is what we think Grafton's all about.
Yep.
And make
Okay.
15-20 minute presentation to them.
Yeah, I mean, I can do stuff on Canva very easily.
Right, so
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
So I can, if I have the,
Yeah, so William, can you get
Information, I
us,
can do
can
it.
you get us the information on the specific open spots?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be good,
I mean,
and,
even if it helps, like Steve Goodman, if we can get him a tenant for his building, I'm sure he'd be ecstatic. And that would be a
Steve
good example,
which
up
building
in North
was,
Yes.
Grafton.
North Grafton, what's the name of that street, what's the street?
Well, I'm trying to think of the location that.
We'll have to figure it out.
It's behind that big development, the Pulte development.
It's off of Institute.
Yeah.
It's almost across the street from Pecorino's, right?
Down further.
Down a little further,
Okay.
yeah.
Old Westboro Road down farther that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we
We'll
can
have to
make a
figure it
note.
out.
oh,
Okay.
quick question, what's the situation with Discerned?
I have no idea.
Somebody said they're only open 2 or 3 days a week now.
Probably, I mean,
No idea. So just one question for you. Do you want the list of like vacant properties, as in to build something on, or just whatever we have?
Well, I know that there's rumors flying around about, Pepperoni Express location there.
What kind of rumors?
I have no idea, but I heard rumors that I'm not willing to talk
Sure.
about it any further than that, yeah, that wouldn't be fair. Maybe, those type of situations as well, but then we can pick which one we think is gonna be best to put forward.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, and the last thing is if you can get me
Mhm.
the minutes
Sure.
to the meeting, so then I'll get that to William and we'll, if I send you like a to-do list, is that, from basically what we said here tonight, is that okay? I mean, I know we're not supposed to have,
I think just directly, just you to William is fine.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no-
I've also been taking notes. So.
yeah, no, I have
There's
the
no
notes.
meeting minutes or
No.
violations, I guess,
No,
right?
no,
I
there's
just
no
wanna make
open, right,
Yeah,
there's no
well,
open
well,
law,
yeah.
there's no it's not violating a deliberative process, so just one person.
I just
Fine.
want to double
No,
and
it's
triple,
good, it's a
double and
good
triple
question,
check.
it's a good question.
Okay,
That'd be on the
so,
front
and then
page
we
of the
can get the
Grafton News.
we can get the collateral from Meredith. So, this is great, yeah.
Yeah, very productive.
okay, I got a boogie.
Yeah,
Yes,
move to
okay.
adjourn?
Take a move to
Yes,
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sean, you second it?
Second,
Third.
third,
All
fourth,
right.
terrific.
All done.
Amazing.